I've always believed that global success can be achieved from any pocket of the world. Being here in rural Cape Breton throughout the pandemic has proven this, not just for myself, but for entrepreneurs everywhere who've adapted and found opportunities in spite of significant challenges. So many people have inspired me throughout my career and continue to every day, from small business owners to international leaders. People across our country are taking risks and betting on themselves in pursuit of their passions. I'm launching these platforms to spark conversations about what it takes to succeed in business and life. If you want to stay connected and inspired, follow along. Today, I'm speaking with the owners of what I believe is one of the most inspiring and innovative restaurants in our country. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, two brothers combined their talents and passions to open a culinary dining restaurant called Woodroad. Woodroad Restaurant is a 25-seat restaurant offering fine dining experience in Marguerite Harbour, Cape Breton. Located along the stunning coast of Western Cape Breton Island, just 15 minutes north of Inverness's most famous Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs golf courses, this incredible 7-course meal restaurant is one to put on your bucket list. Positioned on the Gulf of St. Lawrence with some of the most breathtaking views on Cape Breton Island, paired with some of the most delicious high-end dishes, this is a restaurant that offers a one-of-a-kind experience for all. What I love most about this story is that Woodroad Restaurant is a collaboration between two brothers who each had a dream. Peter has worked in the forestry industry for the past 30 years and spent the last 4 years researching, sourcing trees and milling wood in order to construct this stunning timber frame home. Daryl has spent the last 30 years honing his craft as a passionate chef in the food and beverage industry. Together, they've created a culinary dining experience in a breathtaking setting that is unmatched and aims to engage all senses. Their modern approach for their business and unique local partnerships, they buy everything they can local, is one to be inspired by. This is an episode that will have you engaged, intrigued, and inspired to dream big and innovate. Wow. Here we are on the coast of Inverness in this magnificent spot with Daryl and Peter MacDonnell. And you've created this amazing place for people to come. And it's more than a restaurant. It's more than just a place. And so I'm just absolutely thrilled to spend some time with you guys and talk about how you got here, what you did. Tell us your story. Both Cape Bretoners, both from the Waterford, or Scotchtown, I think. That's where your parents live, right,
Yes,
Daryl?
yes.
But tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here.
Well, Peter, you start.
I'll start.
Yep.
Yeah, our background. Okay. How far back?
Tell us, how did you get this built? Like, where did it come from? Tell us the pathway to get to where you got to today.
Well, spending probably 30 years in the forest industry, from planting to spacing to harvesting logs. I guess I just saw a need that to kind of try and do something with the product we were just shipping to the pulp mill.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
it was kind of just an idea I had of saying, all these beautiful logs, we're taking them, lots of them are being chipped or not utilized in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, then that was basically the beginning of the whole thing. And
Wow.
then 20 years later, this is where we are.
This is where we are. So this whole house is made out of kiln-dyed logs.
Yeah, it was logs that I harvested in River Dennis.
Yeah.
Went and cut the trees from a supplier there. He knew I had a project in mind. And so I went there and basically cut them down, and then he delivered them. Spent probably 4 years between the sawing and the drying and the milling.
Wow.
And as I was telling the lads there, it was first time I ever did this, so it was kind of just a one-off thing, but it turned out pretty good. I was pretty pleased at the
It's
end.
very cool. So I see that everything, there's dowels, right?
Yeah.
So there's no
Yeah,
nails.
it's all put together with a hardwood peg.
Wow.
Yeah.
With a hardwood peg.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me, what is this wood?
It's a mixture. The main structure, the supports are spruce,
Yeah.
and the larger beams are hemlock.
Yep.
And then the walls are pine.
Yep.
And the floors are local birch.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. Let's get the chef involved in this conversation. So, brothers, built this place. Tell us your journey, Daryl.
Well, I started cooking when I was young. I had an interest in it. Both our parents worked, and we would come home from school, and I became the cook at lunchtime. And it was something that I wanted to do, so cooking was in me. My mother is a professional cook,
Yeah.
and her father was a butcher. So I think it was all put on to me.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, and I wanted to be a cook since I can remember. There was no other thoughts in my head of any other industry. So I went to culinary school. As Peter was in the woods, I was learning to cook.
Yeah, nobody made a peanut butter sandwich. I can tell you that.
So I had the opportunity to go to Holland College and
PEI? Yeah.
PEI back in the second year it was open.
Wow.
And my goal was to get to a really good restaurant. And I fought quite hard to get to a man that changed my life.
Yeah.
I worked in Winnipeg with a man named Tony Murakami.
Yeah.
And he taught me more about cooking. He taught me who I was. He taught me who I was as a human and how to move forward very humbly. So I was just amazed with cooking. And then I traveled.
Yeah.
I did a lot of traveling cooking. And it's kind of funny. You fight to get off the island here in Cape Breton when you're young. And the day you leave, you want to go back home.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And that's what I did. I came back home.
Would you cook away? Would you be a chef away and then come back, or how did you do it?
No, I stayed away.
You stayed away.
Yeah, and I met a wonderful woman
Yes.
on my travels, and we got married. And what it was, we were living just outside of Ottawa in Elmer, and I came home for Peter's wedding, actually. And we went to an inn for dinner, just my wife and I and Peter and his wife Mary. And it was an inn in what was the name of the place?
Oh gosh, this
I'll put you on the spot. But we were at this little inn,
Yeah.
and I said, "This is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do."
Oh, I
Okay.
know now.
And so I went back home, and I procrastinate a lot.
Yeah.
And so I said to my wife, I said, "Let's make these deals that we go 5 years where you want to go, and then after that, it's my turn. We go where we want. I want to go." So she wanted to move to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So that's what-
Duncraig and in.
Duncraig and in. And then it was my turn. I said, I want to go back to Cape Breton.
Yeah.
And
How long ago was that?
that was 1994.
Wow. So
And-
5 years turned into many more.
She didn't want to leave. I got her back home. And what it turned out to be is we bought a place in Bedeck, the Linwood Inn, it's
Yes.
called now.
Yes.
We kind of saved that old building, and we started to do a little inn.
Yeah.
And for us, it was just bad timing because we had 2 young children,
Yes.
and family life was
But that's a
important.
stunning property. And I
Yeah.
remember watching what you did to that property.
Oh, thank
It was
you.
you know,
Yeah.
it still is a centerpiece of the
Yeah,
of the
it's a
village.
village.
It is.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so then what happened? What did you do next?
So we decided that it was the wrong timing for us, and there was a fella in the village I was playing hockey with, and he checked me in the corner, knocked me down, and I looked up at him, and he said, "Why don't you come see me about a job?" And it was Scott McCauley.
Yes. Yeah.
So I worked at the Inverness
Very-
for 15 years.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was the perfect scenario for us. Scott was very good to me, and we got to I got to raise my children, which
Yeah.
was one of my main goals.
Wow.
Because it was seasonal.
Yeah.
So I was the dad mom in the winter, and
Yeah.
and my wife was in the summer, so it worked out really well. And we had a great life in Bedeck.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you still live in Bedeck? Do you guys live around here?
I live in Bedeck still.
Yeah.
It's central
And
for me.
I'm in Margery Centre.
Yeah.
Margery Centre.
Yep.
Near the Larch factory?
No, that's East Margery.
Okay.
That's on the
So
other side.
central, right.
Yep.
It's hard to remember.
It is
West,
hard to
south,
follow
west,
the
northwest.
Margeries,
Yeah,
that's right.
But
Yeah.
it's quite a river, and no wonder it has so many beautiful spots.
Yeah.
But so then what happened?
So for me-
you're at the inn. You're at the
Yes.
inn. You have this thought, I want to do this. Tell
Not-
me what.
not
how long-
quite.
Not
It
quite.
took
Oh, no, not
Well,
even close.
Actually, this thought I had when I was in culinary school,
Really?
to be honest with you.
Okay.
And the first place I thought about doing something like this was in Elmer, Quebec.
Yeah.
That's where we were living.
Yeah.
And I used to pass this little house that was in Centertown. I think they tore it down by now. And I always used to say to my wife, I want a little restaurant like that,
Yeah.
and I want to serve what I want to serve.
Yeah.
And I was inspired by a restaurant that was in Elmer at the time. I'm sorry right now, the name, I had the name, but it forgot. And it was just really good food, very simple, but excellent food.
Yeah.
And that was my goal way back when.
Wow.
And life takes you on different turns, and I wasn't quite ready for that.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, for me, what happened was the Celtic Lodge was always an icon for
Yep.
Nova Scotia. And it was sad to see it going in a certain way for many years.
It was. Yeah.
And I entertained going there as the chef for many years, and I didn't because of that. And then I just said to myself one day, if you want it to get better, do something about it.
Yeah.
So I was there for 7 years.
Okay.
And that's where I was just before this place.
Just before this place.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long ago? How long did it take to design, develop, build, operate this place?
Here's a big question. Well, the way it started, Peter had the land for quite a few years.
Yeah, but you have to tell it from the very beginning, though.
Yes.
We were down on that deck down there
Yeah.
on a nice hot day, him and his wife,
Yeah.
No,
and my wife. So we'll have different versions of this already.
that's his version.
That's his version.
And we're all sitting around. I mean, this is probably something he thought about a long time. And my wife, Mary, you know, she's always said to me, "Oh, I'd love to have a nice restaurant like that." And I'm there, "Oh my gosh, she's out of her mind," you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, we were down there one day and we were throwing concepts around, talking about, "What are you doing with this place?" Daryl would say, "Well, we really don't know what we're going to do." And that was, to me, the beginning of it, but
Yeah.
he would
Yeah.
maybe add to it.
And then, and then the actual let's do it, all these beams were laying in Peter's lot
Okay.
on the ground, and we were sitting on them. And I said, "What are you going to do with this?" And he said, "I still don't know." And I said, "Let's put a restaurant in it."
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
said, "I'm willing to go in on it and do it with you and stuff like that."
Wow.
And I said, "We have one problem. We got to convince my wife."
Yes.
He did say that.
And she, when I brought the idea up to her,
Yeah.
she said, "You go right ahead."
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
There was-
gutsy. This is a place
That's
Yeah.
really what
in the
it
middle
says, yeah.
of sort of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And
That's
with a
right.
stunning view
Yes.
of a
Yeah.
magnificent Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And you're 2 hours from, you know, Sydney,
Yes,
which
the
is
bigger
with the
centre.
airport,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
is the, you know, place where people come in. But you have Cabot Links not too far away,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
you know that a high-end experience was workable here, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
by that
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah.
So, but gutsy move.
Yeah,
I gotta say.
Well, it is, but a lot of things came into play. As Daryl would say, Cabot was a big factor.
Big draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of engaged a little bit with Cabot through the caddying program,
Yeah.
early days, and
Yeah.
honestly, if you were a dreamer
Yes.
and walked around with one of these guys off of Wall Street for 4 hours. I was going to go home and build a plane. I mean, it's just like opportunity
Inspired
for
you, huh?
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that played probably
Yeah.
the biggest role.
Yeah,
You know.
and think of it, on top of an old coal mine,
Yep.
building a golf course.
Yep.
That took guts too.
Yeah.
huh?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Absolutely no
I'm
question
I'm
about
going
it.
to be interviewing Ben
Oh,
as
yes.
part of this too,
Yeah.
and so
Yes.
I'll try to
Yeah.
integrate this great story as
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
look, so you're sitting on top of your. How long did it take? How long did it take to build
It was about to actually put it up. We did it in a year, but the making of the joints and the beams
Yeah.
and the wood and the process was 4 years.
4 years.
And through that that time, as Daryl said, not to repeat, it was just something that we didn't have planned at that time. My wife and I were just going to put this up and we were going to live here.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we have this stunning place, and we were just thinking about retirement mostly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the word restaurant, and the hair on the back of my neck is still standing up, but we've been fortunate
Yeah.
because of the people
Yeah.
that we've been involved with.
Yeah.
You know, it's really comes down to that.
And Peter, this is a magnificent structure, but I've had the privilege of eating here, I think 4 times, and one time with my whole damn family, and it was quite spectacular what you've done here. The food that you're creating is spectacular. So tell me, you got the building. Tell me how you started. Of course, you've got a lot of experience running restaurants, right? Managing restaurants, being a leader in this business. But tell me what's different about this place.
Well, I had an idea in my head of how I thought a restaurant could be, and what was happening. I watch trends all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always watching to see what's going on. And this style of restaurant is popping up all over the world for a few years. And Cape Breton, we're in such an exciting time in its history, especially in the food world, because it's starting to explode. And we are ripe for what was going on. So that's why I decided to take the jump into something so small like this from a really good job that I really enjoyed, because I felt the passion about wanting to produce this.
Yeah.
And it was in my mind for such a long time. Yeah. So when Peter and I said, okay, we're going to do this, I wanted to visit these restaurants. So my son and I, we do a hockey travel every year that we can.
Yeah.
So we pick a city, he picks a city, and we go there. That's our little getaway. And we went to Chicago. So I did Chicago's fabulous restaurants. Oh, God. Just amazing.
It is. Yeah.
So I did some research on where we wanted to go for a restaurant. And there's a couple we couldn't get into, too busy. But there was one, it was called El Ideas. Mm-hmm. And it's a small restaurant. They seat about 26. You see the kitchen. They had an industrial kitchen there. But the dining room is small like this. And the chef would talk about every dish. Yeah. And I said, this is exactly where I want to be going. And I watched the guests, how they interact with each other, interact with the staff, and how casual they made it feel. Yes. But you're eating a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah.
So I said, this is what I want.
Okay. This is the concept.
This is the concept. I knew it, but I had to feel it and see it.
Yeah.
And when we came back home from Chicago, I called Peter and I said, do you know you're going to own one of the best restaurants in Nova Scotia? and that's true. Because it was just the feeling of it. And what I wanted to do was add that Cape Breton touch to it.
Yes, yes.
So like us, we go down and we greet everybody at the door.
You do.
And we get rid of the fine dining feeling.
Formalities.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah.
And we're very casual in the way we dress in the kitchen. And that's another thing. I don't want it to be stuffy.
No.
And we do that right as you enter. Like I open the door for you, and I do it because I want to.
Yeah.
It's not part of the gimmick. It's because we're inviting you into our home.
You love to make people happy.
Thank you.
And you do,
Thank
by
you.
the way. I have the experience of making my husband and I just love it here. But look, and I love that you found the concept in Chicago. But you know the pieces that I love about what you do here, because you stand right there at the edge. Everybody goes quiet because you introduce this. You say, look, I want to introduce every one of my dishes, right?
Yes.
But what you put into your dishes is amazing.
Thank you.
And let's talk about how you have chosen to go local as much as you can.
Yeah. And what's happening now, there's a lot of young people moving back to Cape Breton.
They are.
And it's really inspiring to see these people coming. They left the island and they're coming back with knowledge and they're sharing it with us. And what's happening, they're just on our road here. There's a young couple that moved back from Calgary, Dave and Tara, and they opened a little farm. They grow vegetables and stuff. They dropped everything.
Yeah.
They were fortunate that it was his family's homestead.
Yeah.
And they started out small. And they started making a few veg, and now they're into different lettuces. They put a few greenhouses in. They're ready to supply as soon as we open.
Yeah.
And it's pretty exciting to go a kilometer down the road and make a menu from that.
It's amazing. And you have the most fish in the world. You have the most
Exactly.
magnificent fish.
Yep.
Where do you source your fish?
Well, like lobster, crab, and stuff, they're 4 kilometers down
Yep.
the road.
Yep.
There's a second generation fisherman. They call them MacDonnell boys, I think.
McKinnon.
Yeah.
McKinnon boys,
Yeah.
excuse me. And they bring them right off the boat to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter, I think, can holler to them and say, "Bring us some more," right from the boat.
Yeah.
So, and then there's some local fishermen around that we
Yeah.
try and deal with also.
Yeah. And meat, is there beef here? Is there?
There's a couple of farms, pretty exciting actually. There's a couple of local farms. There's LeBlanc's just by the co-op in Marbury Forks.
Yeah.
We get lamb and beef from him.
Yeah.
And all the beef bones, like I make all the stocks and all of this, I get
You
that from
recycle
him.
everything, don't you?
We use it all.
You use it all. I
Use
love
it
it.
all.
I love it. Yeah.
And there's a young lady, and I apologize for not knowing her name, but she's starting to play with Kobe beef here on the island.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they just opened a little creamery dairy. Again, I'm sorry about the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she contacted me last year, and I got through Dave, actually, the farmer.
Yeah.
He told me about her. And there's people trying different
They
things.
are. They absolutely are trying to.
And bringing these great products to us.
Yeah, yeah. And people are looking for this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want a piece of lamb coming from New Zealand anymore.
Yeah.
I want it
That's
closer to
right,
me.
that's right.
I want it
Exactly.
closer to me. I want
That's right.
I want the pork closer to me. I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And are you seeing a movement also in vegetarian and vegan?
This is one of those times I like to holler. No, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
It is.
Yeah,
It really is.
And
yeah.
what first when I started, I said, I'm not doing that. I want to cook what I want.
Yeah.
And then I said, Daryl, don't be like that. I talk to myself a lot. And it's a big trend.
Yeah.
And what we do is we ask people when they make reservations to notify us. And what I do is I make a whole menu for vegans.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
or a whole vegetarian menu.
And what's great about it, our staff is all vegan, so I get to have all the leftovers.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a
movement,
big
huh?
movement.
It is a big
and,
movement,
and
yeah.
it's neat to see, and it's challenging for me being in the culinary
Yeah.
field for a long time.
Yeah.
And going totally vegetarian,
Yeah.
because who doesn't like cream, butter,
I know,
and
I know,
all of
I
those
know.
things?
But it's changing.
It
You know
is
what?
changing.
Yeah.
Like I
Totally,
have
completely.
people that work
Yeah.
for me that are vegan,
Yeah.
and they're vegan, real vegan, right?
Yeah.
And that's her whole life has
That's
been this
right.
way, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just seeing, you know, millennials and younger people just saying, you know what, we need to give back more to the planet, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
part of
Yep.
that is eating from plants
That's
and eating
right.
food
Exactly.
from plants.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's sort of encouraging.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's really great to see, and I love that you're supporting local, because I think, look, Cape Breton Island is the most beautiful island in the world. And I can say that because I have, Stan and I've been to 60 countries, 70 countries, but it is considered one of the most beautiful places in the world, and you have one of the most beautiful spots in the world. And it is,
Thank you.
and I believe islanders are very self-reliant. They are. I come from a farmer's family on the north side. That's my parents came here from the Netherlands, and they were farmers, and so I see that the importance of that. And I think that we are very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Very entrepreneurial, and can figure out ways to do stuff, just
Yeah.
like you two have, right?
Yeah.
And because I think this is what innovation's about. Innovation in
Exactly.
food,
Yeah.
innovation
Yeah.
in, you know, how we, you know, today we throw away 60% of the guts of a fish. Doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all protein in that.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
at the Reassurance Center, we're biorefining things, you know, like, so it's really, really cool what's happening in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
movement, there's a change.
Yeah.
Aren't you seeing a change here?
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And you two have been around for, you know, not as long as old Annette here,
Oh.
but you guys have been around for quite a while, and there is a big change happening in
Yes,
Cape
there
Breton.
is, yeah.
there? Huh?
Yeah, for sure.
I've been in the tourism industry just in Cape Breton for 26 years now, and this is the most exciting time is today.
Yeah.
The quality of the education of the client that's coming is demanding something now.
Yes, yes.
And what's happening, there's a lot of younger people getting into the industry in all levels of it.
Yeah.
And they're realizing this, and they're willing to work with each other.
Yeah.
It's not the old school, I'm going to take it and stuff like
Yep,
this.
yep.
And the communities that are working together are thriving.
Yeah.
And it's the unique product, like COVID, I'm sure we'll get
Yeah.
into it a little bit, but it really opened our eyes to the uniqueness of the quality product that we have on the island here.
Yeah.
And they were all busy.
Yeah, yeah, amazing.
And it's I was saying to you earlier, it's sad to say, yes, we had a great year in COVID, but we did.
Yeah.
And part of it was having this unique product that people looked for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it really made Nova Scotians
Realize
discover Cape
themselves. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
love this story. So to everyone that's listening, do you know when these guys started this restaurant? They started it June 15th in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And you didn't know whether you guys were going to make it, did you?
No,
Huh?
not
Didn't
at
have a
all.
clue.
No, not a
tell
clue.
us how you did.
Well, the staff, when they all came back, there's only 4 of us. There's
Yeah.
myself and a young lady in the kitchen
Yeah.
and 2 waiting staff. And I said to them, we're opening. We don't know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
but we're going to wait and see.
Yeah.
And we were, from July 1st to the end of the season, we were sold out.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And what it was word of mouth.
Yeah.
Was
No
our
one,
biggest
and
market.
no advertising.
Very little
Yeah,
advertising. Yeah.
but I told a lot of people about it. I'll tell
Maybe
you.
that's what it was.
No. A little tiny bit. It's all about word of mouth, right?
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
about
It is,
social media.
yeah.
It's all about the experience.
And
right?
and we
Yeah.
had people jump in. Again, I don't want to bring Cabot up too often
Yeah.
to get them
Cabot is
all together.
great.
They
were
have a
very
great
supportive.
supporting
Yeah,
staff there.
exactly.
Andrew and Greg were down here saying, if we get people, we want
Yeah.
experiences for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it
you know what
really
I love?
fit.
What I love about Andrew and Greg. So every year, I on the long weekend, on the Thanksgiving weekend, I try to Stan and I host an event at Cabot, and so they talked to me about you guys.
Okay.
They said, because I'd heard about you, and they were so quick to say, look, Annette, you want to give your family another experience, let's do that. So selfless.
That's
right.
right.
They
That's
could have
right.
had
Yeah. Oh,
us
anything.
another dinner
That's
with
right.
all of us. No,
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah.
And see, that to
Yeah.
me is community.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
about, they know that they need to take care of
Yeah.
you guys too,
That's
in
right.
order to make it all happen.
And
That's
that's where I
right.
go back to communities are starting to work together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of what's happening. This side of the island is going kaboom.
Kaboom, kaboom.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
is the word, yeah.
And that's why, like, Amma was Ingonish, Bedeck and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which is still beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of great things happening. But this side of the island is pretty special.
It is.
Yeah.
And people are really starting to find out
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
importance of being on this side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've always had the music, right, on the island. We've
for
always
sure.
had, but we've never had the other stuff to match it.
That's right.
And now we're
True.
getting the other
Yeah.
stuff to match it, right?
Yep.
That
Yeah.
really will provide that great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Cape Breton is one of the great destinations, the Fortress of Louisbourg, the Alexander Graham Bell Museum, the Cabot Trail.
Yeah.
Like, it is a stunning place. Bedeck,
is.
the beautiful community of Bedeck.
Yep.
It is a stunning place. And so, wow, to take advantage of that and to give
Yeah.
that customer that full experience
Yes.
is just
Yeah.
amazing. It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. Tell me, so what's I love that. How many people can you handle in this place?
Well, we'll seat up to 30.
30? Yep.
What we have is 8 tables,
Yeah.
and when they disappear in numbers 2, 4, 6, or
Yeah.
whatever, that's when we stop.
That's when you stop.
Yeah.
So tell people how you work. Tell them how your menu works. Tell them how you tell them the choices that they have.
So the way and another thing with COVID, which was really good also, just to
Yep,
get
please.
this rolling. We already had a website set up where you had to take reservations, and we were only one seating, and people all came at the same time. So that kind of helped us
Yeah.
in the way we were structured,
Yes.
because that was the new regulations
Yeah.
that were coming out, and we were already there, which was really good.
Good. Yeah.
So the way the menu's designed, we do 7 to 8 courses.
Yeah.
It is mostly fish, just because we're right
Yeah.
on the ocean
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's part of our tradition. So in making the reservation, if you have any food restrictions, you notify us and we create a menu to you.
Okay.
And that's where the vegan, vegetarian,
Yeah,
like.
but it's fixed for everybody, which I think
Yes.
is really
Yeah.
important, which I love, because
Yes.
the value that you put in every dish is much greater than the value you put in 70 dishes.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
This is
Exactly.
your
Yep.
belief.
Yeah.
This is your
Exactly.
purpose,
Yeah.
right?
And at first, when you tell people this, they're going to say, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
want choices
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But again, the educated population now
Yes.
of culinary people, they're looking for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what happens, so I design the menu around the year.
Yeah.
I go picking mushrooms every day.
Yeah.
And that they're available, and I'm all over here and in Bedeck. I have a few magic spots too.
Yeah, yeah.
But whatever I can find, that goes on the menu.
Yeah, yeah.
And then so we design the menu, and I have this young lady that's been working with me for quite a while in the pastry.
Dessert chef.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
do 3 dessert courses,
Yeah.
which is a great
Yeah.
chance to show
Yeah.
her talents
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the menu we usually try and put a vegetable, a pasta dish,
Yeah.
and a meat dish of some sort.
Yeah.
And we have local chicken farmers, beef
Yeah.
and lamb. When all that comes available, that's when we
That's when you.
we
present
change it. That's when we
terrific.
present it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've had different meals here, during
Yeah.
the summer and then the fall, and so it's really wonderful. Peter, what is your role here now that you've built this magnificent place? What do you do to drive the performance of this place?
Oh, there's lots of interesting stories. Starting with the bathroom door, the first night we had somebody locked in there. She turned out to be this lovely woman from down in the valley, and she was an ex-police officer, and she wasn't alarmed at all. Anyway, so Peter fixed this, Peter fixed that type of thing, and
Yeah.
I'm a taste tester. Anne Marie, the pastry chef, she's always looking for me to kind of try and
Yeah. And I see
know,
that you're
sample
working around the
things.
place. I see that you're expanding the parking lot a bit. I see you
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
on the equipment
Yeah,
here.
I've tried to do a little equipment and
Yeah.
just mostly support. He hollers at me to, give me a call. I don't have enough mushrooms. Can you? Da, da, da. So I'm
I get
running
him
through
picking
the
mushrooms
woods.
in the morning.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
be making dishes, and I said, I
Yeah.
need more, and then he'll go in the field and
And
pick
the
them
thing
for me.
is, when he needs them now.
Now.
So I mean, I'm actually scaring bears
Yeah.
out of the woods,
Yeah.
running through the
Yeah.
woods trying to
Now,
find.
think of this. Just think of those people that are listening to this this podcast. Think of a chef and his brother that are so concerned about the quality and the local delivery. This is a stunning place to eat. Stan and I, we eat out a lot. Like we
Thank
have
you.
been around a lot.
That's pretty amazing for you to say.
No,
for
but
sure.
honestly, your food
Yeah.
is like it's one of the best restaurants that we have experienced.
Thank
and
you.
so and I think to achieve that quality,
Yeah.
to achieve is tough to do.
It is.
And it's
Yep.
and you know what? And I'm hoping that you're making money. Of course, I'm doing all the calculations in my
Yes,
head.
of
And of course. But I because you're doing a fixed menu. You
Yes.
you have control
That's
of the
right.
food. You have
Yeah.
have the control of the labor,
Yeah.
right? You and I love the purpose behind what you're doing, what you guys are doing here, because this is an experience. The food
That's the
is-
right word. The experience is the right word. Like my wife says, when you come down the driveway and then you
Yeah.
instantly have a feel of, it's a nice little winding road down, you see the ocean.
Yeah.
And then you come down towards the
Yeah.
house.
If you
and
can
then,
find the driveway.
if you can find. This year I'm going to have a good sign. I'm gonna put a good sign up this year.
No,
That's been a bit of a complaint.
yeah, but you know what? It is and it isn't. Like,
Yeah.
you know what?
Well, it's hidden
Work.
away.
I think you should work to find this.
Yes, well, that's the way the Bite House
Yes,
was
yeah,
when it began.
Exactly.
I mean,
the Bite House, same story, huh?
It is. Brian is just a brilliant guy with food, and,
Yeah.
and before Daryl started this, my wife and I went there several times. And
Yes.
he just knocks it out of the park
He
every
does,
time,
he
you know.
does.
So he was really one of the first in the area to
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
bring along
Yeah.
this concept,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And,
So tell me, 5 years down the road, what do you believe this place could be? What can you replicate this anywhere? I'd love to talk to you about you know, how this evolves, or does it?
It does evolve. We talk a lot about how it can go, and we don't want to change the experience of it. So that requires hiring more people and stuff like that to do different things.
Yeah.
So I have a young fella in mind. He doesn't know it yet, but to come on board with us, and so we can experiment with other things.
Yes.
Like we want to get into on the beach dining.
Yep.
We want to give this experience to people.
Experience, yeah.
Like Cape Breton is beach. We're everywhere.
Everywhere,
and we want to do that. We have a lot of different, I have a million ideas.
Yeah.
It's just the people and the time to get them out there.
Yeah.
So we do want to do different things.
Yeah.
And we want to make this grown as a destination.
Yeah.
And it's starting. We're getting people that we came to Cape Breton because we heard of you.
Yeah.
And that's good news.
Yes.
And that's part of where we want to make this, refine it. Like obviously we're just in our really second year.
Yeah.
So it's building it and keeping it, and it's a lot of work to keep, like you say, the food at a certain level every night.
Yep.
And I think I'm the one that takes that the hardest, in the sense if it's not, it hurts me.
Yep.
Like I've done dishes 20 years ago that still bother me today. and I think it's just who we are.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you want things right, not perfect. No,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as perfect, but you want it right.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to work at this product also.
Yeah.
Because we need reasons for people to come. We don't need them, but it's good to be one of the reasons why people come to the island.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? And I love the idea of experience. You know, having dinner or having a dinner on the beach, and any of these beaches would be one of the most beautiful things, or on the edge of the cliff, and I see that you're also building a spot out there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Will that be a place?
Potentially, where Daryl had some ideas about doing traditional lobster supper there for a private group.
Yeah.
And it looks over the water's edge, and it is a
It's a stunning
stunning
It's a stunning.
spot.
People are looking for experiences, right? And people are, you know, this pandemic, I know it's been very difficult, but it's also made people reflect on our own country, our own community, our own province. And I think people are really experiencing, look, we don't live in such a bad place. Do we have to go to Paris? Like, I think that's all wonderful. I'm a traveler, I get it. But this place has a lot to offer.
It really does.
And you guys are adding to the menu of this island,
Thank you.
right?
Yep.
And I think that this is just such an exciting time. It really is.
Yep.
And I have been, I left Cape Breton when I was 30 years old. So half of my life, a little more than half my life, I've spent it in Ontario, in Toronto, or other places in the US, and spent a lot of time in China. But I just see such a difference.
You do.
In people's attitudes. People are more optimistic. And you know what? We are the gem in this province, right? And you know, it used to be, look, you know, comparing Sydney to Halifax, and I know that Halifax is the metropolis, but we've got wonderful attributes on the island. That's different.
All around.
All around.
Yep.
Go to Gabaroos, go to
Ile
Madame.
Amazing.
It's just, this place is one of the most beautiful places in the world. So Peter, are you okay to keep doing this with your brother?
Yes, I think I'm going to be...
Well, you own the place, right?
No, it's the other way. Am I okay to keep doing it?
Yes, it's
My wife keeps me in the game more than Daryl does, because she's really keen on trying to provide this very unique product as well, and making sure things look just a certain way, tablecloths a certain way. And she's very particular, and she puts up with me with all my craziness.
No.
But we make a pretty good team, and then throw Daryl into the mix. Daryl and I spent probably the last 20 years apart, because he was on his thing and I was doing my thing. And you know, we're separated quite a bit, but anyway, it just kind of it just all fell together.
It's funny looking behind the scenes. Like, I'm used to this industry, and troubleshooting is was my job for many years
Yeah.
of seeing what's going to happen.
He does the craziest things.
So these two will be, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh, I'd be just freaking
it's
out.
cool.
Good
Let's
That's right.
just relax.
That's right.
Just
Yeah.
relax.
I'll give you a prime example. You know, my wife and I are running our house is clean, is that clean, all this kind of stuff, and you know, we're looking at each other, figuring out, okay, what can we do? And Daryl says, "Oh, I think people are not going to be here for 7 minutes. I'm going to go have a nap." Literally. He'll put
7
the
minutes?
alarm on in his
7
phone, go into the room. We're still flying around, and he comes out. Okay, I think
ready
that
to
was a
go.
good nap.
Yeah.
And,
great.
so
You know
he's
each
pretty
other.
laid back.
You know what I love about this whole conversation is that the women in your lives have had just as much to do with
Oh,
your
for
success,
sure. Without
maybe
question.
more,
Oh yes.
maybe
yeah.
more.
Oh no.
And I love the way you talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
your wives. I
Yeah.
love that. I love how that you're real partners with them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is just so important. And this whole balance of life
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
changing too, huh?
Yeah.
This is a place where you know, these Wall Street people and these Bay Street people and people that are going crazy. I think people are really thinking about, you know, what they really want in their lives, and
Yeah.
so you're offering them a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
offering them time
that's right.
to think and
And
to
it's
be.
such a different pace here.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
That's one of the things. That
Exactly.
Really play
I
a
have
role.
one more question, Daryl.
Yeah.
The guy that you met in Winnipeg, that made you understand who you are. I'd love to just explore that for a minute.
Well, never leaving Cape Breton,
Yeah.
a young fella, I was very shy.
Yeah.
Very quiet. I didn't learn to ride a bike till I was later. He showed me and things like this. So my experience when I went to culinary school was, I knew I wanted to cook and I wanted to get out there, but my personality kind of
Held you
me
back a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So when I did get the opportunity to go to this gentleman, he showed me, he teaches you about you, and you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And one thing he said to me once, well, he said a million things to me that I repeat every day almost, but it goes to Cape Bretoners. One day he called me and he said, "Daryl," he always said, "I'm in the shit. I need you," and it was my day off.
Yeah.
And I said, "Chef, I'll be right there." I went in, I worked all day, and I was cleaning the sink.
Yeah.
And he said, "You can go home now, Daryl." I said, "No, I haven't finished cleaning the sink." And he looked at me, he said, "You sure you're Canadian?" And I turned around to him, I said, "No, I'm a Cape Breton." And that's who we are too.
We finish things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But we're a different breed here.
Yeah, we are.
And people are starting, and he noticed that, but he didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he said, "You're not a Cape Breton," because our kitchen was German, it was French,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
different. I think I was the only
Yeah.
Canadian in there.
Yeah.
And that teaches you, like, hey, we are kind of special.
we are.
We are
We
kind
are.
of special people.
And it's, you know what, like I'm a farmer's daughter I came from Cape Breton, and so, you know, I do business and been sort of successful, and I'm different. I am different in the boardrooms of the
interesting.
world.
Yeah.
I'm very different.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
about equity and diversity.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
I care. I have more empathy.
Yeah.
You know, I think about the environment more. And it's because of where I come from.
Yeah.
It is. We're
Yeah.
special.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
we're
Yeah.
special. And
Yeah.
so, I love this interview. I love spending time with you guys.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you. You know, I'm really excited about doing this podcast because I want to brag about this beautiful place that I came from.
Thank you.
And you guys have really done an amazing job at
thank you very
delivering
much.
an experience that is beyond many people's expectations.
Yeah.
And when you beat people's expectations, the sustainability of this place will go on forever.
Thank you.
So, built something beautiful.
There was one lady, just in closing, there
Yeah.
was one lady that dined with us, and she became a very regular, wonderful lady. And she said to me afterwards, she came to talk to me, she said, "You know, we just finished a trip through Spain.
Yeah.
And I'm a foodie, and I went to all the best restaurants in Spain, and the best restaurant in the world now is in Spain."
Yeah.
And she said, "You were the second best meal I've had." excluding next to the, and that's not boasting
Yeah.
for us, but it's the experience
It's
that we were,
experience.
and it's we're giving a world-class experience.
You were.
Yeah.
So one of the days I was here, and there was a group from Halifax, and and other parts. I think they probably came from Cabot. They gave you a standing ovation, right? Remember
Yes,
that? Remember
yes.
that? Remember that evening?
Yeah.
Because everybody was just over the top, like they couldn't believe that they could do this here, right?
Yeah.
And so it just demonstrates that you can do anything you want on this island.
Yeah.
If it's of great quality,
Quality,
if it
yeah.
exceeds people's expectations,
Yeah.
and it's a great
Yeah.
experience. So
That's for sure.
well done,
Yeah,
guys.
Thank
thank
you.
you very
Thank
much.
you for this.
Special.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's special.
Okay.